Hi everyone, and welcome once again to the weekly English shooting live stream. I really hope you're all keeping well and keeping safe and keeping yourself entertained during this lockdown period. So I've got a guest.
I'm live already.
I've gone live.
Right. Can they see me from this angle?
No, you're hidden. Are you gonna? Oh, thank you very much. I've been treated.
I cut that myself.
Oh, thank you very much. I have to give a shout out to the sponsor of the stream tonight, Bluefield Sports. Alex just brought me some treats. Cool. Thank you very much. So where was I then? So for anyone wondering, Alex is necessary supplies, a lovely glass of wine, no Corona for tonight, and some lovely meat. Got to have your lovely meat, so I'll be snacking on that and sipping on that throughout the stream, no doubt. But yes, it's been another lockdown week, although there is lots to make the most of. There's a video that went out at 7 tonight about building your own range at home. So if you're interested in shooting air guns or BB guns inside your garden, I wouldn't recommend inside the house at all, unless it's Nerf guns. But yeah, if you're interested in doing it, there are a few things that you need to consider, and I go into all of those details during the video, all the considerations that you need to make sure that you're safe and responsible, and that you keep on the right side of the law. The one that I always it can easily slip your mind, especially if you're out in the fields, if you're doing rough shooting, is the 50-foot rule with a road and a path. And I do say that you do have to be considerate of the path, but I actually forgot in the video to specify 50 foot. Basically, you can be prosecuted if you shoot, I believe it's any type of gun within 50 foot of a road. So yeah, again, make sure that your garden doesn't go near any paths or any roads or all of that. But yeah, luckily I measured it out on Google Maps, and I believe from the centre of the road it's something like 100 foot from where I was shooting, so I'm all good for that. As always, guys, please keep your questions coming in, and any topics you want to talk about, then let me know, and I'll happily chat about it, whatever you want, anything gun related or otherwise. I do have a few goodies to talk about tonight. I'll just give you a quick preview, but we'll get on to them in detail later on. I have the brand new Nexus Pro with me. For any budding practical shooters out there, this has been highly anticipated, and it's been very hard biting my tongue over the past few months that this has really come to fruition with Connors and Magload. It's been a product 2 or 3 years in development, but yeah, it's here. Any questions you want, I would have loved to have had Connor's here to tell you about it. I'm sure he will join the stream at some point, but he's sort of proud as punch, really. He's like, everything that he learned from doing the original Nexus is in there, but we get onto that later. And I also have some tactical, practical goodies as well. So it's an upgrade kit for the Remington 870, which I will be doing a full video on shortly. I did put a little post out on Facebook, so if you're interested, again, full video will go out, but I'll talk a little bit more in depth. And something that joined me last week for the stream, you can see, where is it? There it is the Nexus 100. Again, if you want to talk about that at all, or any more information, although I did talk about it last week, that's actually where it's lived for the past, must be month or two. We had the video filmed for that ages ago, and it's been living there, and then for every stream that I've been doing, I've been having to shove it away so that we don't reveal it, and again with the Nexus Pros. But yeah, as I'm sure you can probably see, I'm in the office. Please do not go out if it's not necessary. I managed to tie it in with what I needed to get done this week in terms of running the businesses to today. So I've come out, I've done my sort of necessary journey for the week into the office to get all these bits and pieces done. But yeah, again, guys, I think it's more important than ever to be staying in and to be protecting the NHS, of course. And don't forget, I've been really bad the past few weeks, but don't forget at 8 o'clock tonight to pause the stream for a few minutes and go outside and clap our NHS for the brilliant work that everyone on the front line is doing. But again, I really hope everyone's keeping well. Nobody has any coughs or headaches or sore throats. But yeah, again, guys, please keep your questions coming in, and I'll try my best to answer them. So I've got a question from Nitsa. Have you come up with a solution to your bad Wi-Fi problem? Yeah, do it in the office. I do have a solution that I will be trying out, because over the next few weeks, potentially months, I might not be able to justify coming into the office, so I will have to make sure that I can at the very least do it at home. The solution is to hardwire it. I'm not going to be doing it over Wi-Fi. I'm going to run a 20-meter cable up to the office where I do it at home, and yeah, hopefully should have a much more solid connection. We are on Virgin Media there. The connection should be really, really good, but the Wi-Fi is a bit pants. So Tech Gaming 45, does that include alleyways? So in terms of the 50-foot rule that I was talking about, in terms of not shooting near a road or an alleyway, I mean, an alleyway would be considered a path, and a footway. I don't actually know off the top of my head whether the 50-foot rule does include footpaths. I think it does. So unfortunately, if you are within 50 foot of an alleyway or a footpath, whether an alleyway is considered a footpath, that's another thing. But it's better to be safe than sorry. 50 foot isn't a huge distance. I know probably most people's gardens aren't on 50 foot, but if you can get to one side of it, and make sure you've got that 50-foot distance, then do that. But of course, don't take any risks. And actually, talking about lockdown and talking about everything that's going on, and being sensible and not breaking the rules under lockdown, firearms owners are always continuously under high scrutiny. So you have to be whiter than white, and at the moment with the lockdown, if you cannot 100% justify why you were out there, and I know I did a video on this a few days, well, I think it was about a week ago now, don't risk it. Unless you have a landowner absolutely calling out for you to be out there shooting in the rough, then just don't do it. Don't take the risk. And certainly there's no way you could justify sport shooting at the moment. It is not a necessity. But there was a story that I saw popped up about 2 people that actually had their shotgun certificates revoked because they were caught out during lockdown. Now, there's a bit more to it. They were unfortunately shooting on land that they didn't have permission on, which again is just a golden rule you don't break. In some areas I can understand, some boundaries of lands can be hard to sort of know where you are on the land, and you can easily stray onto other people's. But again, you don't have an excuse as a firearm owner. You should really know exactly where the property boundaries are, and it's not an excuse that you've accidentally slipped onto something else. But I don't know whether they were being particularly harsh. I mean, technically the offence is trespass with a firearm, which is a fairly serious offence in itself. I don't know if it's a routine action to revoke shotgun certificates. Again, under those circumstances, without knowing the full story, it's hard to say. But being out during lockdown certainly wouldn't have made it any better for those guys. So being on property that they didn't have permission to shoot and out in lockdown, it was a double whammy, and that's probably why they got them revoked. So I'm just going to take a break, because the lovely meat treats from Alex at Blue Field Sports, they're too tempting, and I just have to. I'm sorry, but I'll read through your questions, so please keep them coming through. And that's really good. That's really, really good meat. Love a nice bit of meat. And biltong, actually, that's something I need to give a shout out. I don't know if he's here, but Paul from the World Gun Owners Association did send out another care package of biltong recently. So a big thumbs up to Paul and the World Gun Owners Association, because it's not essential to go out and biltong. So to have it sent to you and keep the biltong thing going on at the moment is absolutely lovely. So let's have a look. Mr. Top Gun 303, looking for a 9mm rifle, CBR or Siscar or SGC reviews would be nice. Yeah, I mean, I can highly recommend the Siscar. I've got up close and personal. I haven't shot it, mind you, but getting up close and personal and knowing the guys at Caliber Innovations, their Siscar general, just not the 9mm, was really highly regarded. It's made its way into loads of magazines, and I know loads of top level shooters that use it. I know Ben used a Siscar variant out for the Rifle World Shoot out in Sweden. They managed to arrange one to be out there for him, and I believe it was actually the only gun, the only rifle AR. They pretty much were all ARs, I think, but it was the only gun in the British team that didn't have a malfunction the whole time. And you're talking 5 solid days of shooting, at that really high intense level. So, that really says the sort of quality of the Siscar. And I know, Caliber Innovations were the first to market with it, so they've had a lot of time to perfect it. I know, obviously, Southern Gun Company, I assume that's what you mean by SGC, they've been around a very long time. They know what they're doing as well. So again, I've shot a couple of SGCs in the past, but my favoritism does lean towards Caliber Innovations, but I really don't think you can go wrong with either. Yes, Tom, I am banished to the container, but again, thanks to Alex, I have some wine and lovely meat, so I'm okay. And of course, because we are sponsored by Pepsi Max, I have the Pepsi Max there as well, just keep me nice and hydrated. So what is the first thing I would have to do if I were to go into shooting firearms? And that's from Alex's workshop. So in terms of Peter Chapman has just said the one thing that I always recommend: just go and join a club. I mean, it's going to be a little hard at the moment, obviously. Maybe you can arrange something for when the lockdown is over, and start the ball rolling with that. But to go and get your hands on a gun and just try shooting, go and join a club. I mean, the way that it works with clubs and guest days is that a Home Office approved club will have 12 guest days a year that they are allowed to use, and when they sort of activate one, anybody can go and join them as a guest for the day and test shooting. So get in contact with some local clubs and see if they have, obviously after all of the coronavirus debacle, just see if they've got anything planned for guest days, and hopefully you can go and turn up and try. If you're anywhere near to Bisley, give Custom Firearms, getting them all confused, Kentucky Firearms Club. Again, I cannot recommend that club highly enough. That's my main Home Office approved club. Great bunch of guys and girls, really, really passionate about getting new people into the sport. So if you drop them a message, I'm sure they can arrange a guest day. And for Kentucky Firearms Club, I believe their membership is like £40-50 a year. If you really want to go out and have a day shooting, you can't really argue with £40-50. Just go and join them, become a probational member, and then you don't have to worry about a guest day. You can just go to their next shoot. And also, Blue Field Sports here offers experience packages. So if you want like a one-on-one, or you want to bring a few friends down as well, there are a variety of different guns that you can shoot without licenses. I think I'm probably the best example of that, and they cater days completely to you. So if you just want to go out on a private range with a selection of guns and not worry about the whole club thing, then you can get in contact with Blue Field Sports, and drop them a message, go on their website, go on their Facebook page, and get in contact with Alex, and you can arrange for a taster session once this is all over. So loads of things you can do to sort of try it and start it. Of course, if you're going to go down the FAC route, then absolutely go for a Home Office approved club. This is actually a topic that I've got a video uploaded ready to go, which will probably be out in the next few days. Of course, I'm starting this series with me reapplying for my licenses. I'm basically covering every aspect. So when I first went through the process of getting a firearms certificate and a shotgun certificate, I wasn't running the channel. It was I think at least a year or two after I started the channel. So now I can document absolutely every aspect on camera for you. And I made a video saying that the first step is to decide what guns you want to get. Actually, I jumped the gun a little bit on that. the first step, really, if you're interested in getting your FAC, is joining a club. So I hope that clears it up, but keep an eye on the channel, because again, I'm going to be going through every single little detail of getting your licenses and starting your journey into shooting. Yeah, again guys, thanks everyone for joining. I see loads of people joining as we speak, so thanks for joining us on this lovely evening. I know you'd probably much rather be out enjoying the sunshine, but we are all confined to home. But it's just about finding the things to entertain yourself, and if that's listening to me ramble on for the next hour or so, then you're more than welcome. Again, I always say it, but please, if you're watching, hit that like button. It really does make a difference with the YouTube analytics. It helps share out the video, and it will flag up to more people that potentially have never seen shooting before. So always appreciate a thumbs up on the video. Again, please keep your questions coming in. So Alex Workshop, would that not require some sort of license? I guess that's in response to Peter about joining a club. No, joining a club is the first step of getting a license. So just find a club, find one local, and join it. Carl, good to see you again. You've been pretty regular over the last few weeks streams, so thanks for joining again. He says, just got home from a solid range session here in Norway. We have a limited opening of ranges now. Okay, that's brilliant. So your Norway seems to be on the recovery stage, coming out of lockdown, so that's good. You've managed to get some shooting in. I hope they haven't done that too soon. That's actually one of my biggest worries, that they sort of jumped the gun and released the lockdown and people start to get ill again. But I'm sure they've made the decision knowing all of the facts, so good for you. That's amazing. I can't wait until they fully open it up again, although I do seem to be getting a lot of videos done at the moment, so it's not particularly a bad thing. Again, just catching up on your questions, guys. What would be the minimum time spent at a range / club over a year to make practical shooting and shotgun worth having an FAC for? Just once a year. Sorry guys, again, I got some lovely meat. The thing with practical shotgun and section 1 shotguns is for practical shotgun to be doing it at the same level as all the top shooters and international shooters, you do really need a section 1 shotgun. I mean, I do it with section 2. Section 2 you can still have a lot of fun with. I started practical shooting with a Beretta over and under, so it's not necessarily about the gun, but if you do want to progress and you do want to start doing more competitions, you are going to be really hindered with a section 1. Like, take it from me, like, I really want to be competing with the section 1, and I can't, obviously, at the moment. So even if you're just going to do it once, I would say, well, you need to be able to justify it in terms of use. Maybe that is what you are asking. I mean, in terms of justification, as long as you're a UK PSA member, if you go and do a safety course and then you're going to start going into competitions and training, that should be enough as it is. I'm sure once you do it once, you're going to want to be doing it every single weekend. But the brilliant thing about the section 2s is that you can still go and try it for I would say at a lower level, unfortunately, but you can still get a really good taste of it. As I said, I started practical shotgun with an over and under and fell in love instantly, even though I was like quite literally outgunned by everybody there, especially the guys with the box feds. But it's awesome fun. Really get into it. Look at the UK PSA. If you want to taster the safety courses again that are run here, as well with Bluefield Sports on the range, and Bluefield Sports does do practical taster sessions, so you don't need to have it as structured or as formal as necessarily a safety course. You could just come for a trial, if you just want to dip your toe. But yeah, with anything FAC, you do need to justify having the gun. So maybe just having it, you're going to do it once a year, that wouldn't be enough justification to have it. I would say you probably need to be doing it at least every month, once a month, to justify having a section 1 shotgun for it. As I said, as soon as you get a taste for it, you're going to want to be doing it a hell of a lot more than once a month. The Alan Westlake revolver you were discussing to put on your license, I'm looking for one, and they seem quite difficult to find sellers that deal. Yeah, the thing is with the Alan Westlakes, they are made by, I think, one guy and Mr. Westlake himself, and I think he has a couple, maybe one or two members of staff that help him out, but it's not a high volume production that he has there. They are all hand fettled, which makes them absolutely incredible. That's why I want one so much. I have never seen a huge amount on the second hand market, if I'm honest. I would really say the best way to get one is to get in contact with Alan Westlake himself, and put your name down. I'm sure there's a waiting list. I know Alex has 3 on his personal license, and he's sort of starting a collection of them, and he has like a running order with an open standing order, I guess it is, with Alan Westlake, basically saying any gun you make I want. So put me down for, you do a new variant, let me know, because I want one. But yeah, they are quite rare, they are quite niche, I would say, so they can't be imagined. It would be great to get in contact with him and actually find out how many guns he's built in total, because he obviously he'll have a log of it. If you are interested, any of you, of learning more about Alan Westlake, there's a brilliant interview over on Gunroom TV during the target shooting show. Kanch sits down with Alan and talks about basically the birth of the long barrel pistol. So for those of you that don't know, Alan Westlake is the man responsible for why we have long barrel pistols. He was the one to sort of have the initiative of going and getting a Browning butt mark, cutting off the stock and making it into a sort of a pistol, and that it sort of progressed from there. So he really is the godfather of long barrel pistols. So Chapper have a CBR in 9mm soon, Mr. Top Gun saying that. Yeah, I've heard lots of it. I've had lots of questions about that. I haven't seen too much. I've done a little bit of research myself. As soon as it hits here, I will definitely have to check that out, because so many people seem to be hyped up. And for me, one of the best releases recently has to be what I say recently is quite old now, but the Chiappa Rhino. To have that Chiappa Rhino available in an LBR format is absolutely incredible. So it's still shows that Chiappa are thinking about the UK and bringing stuff in. Of course, with the backing of Ray Trade, it's the Ray Trade are the UK importers and distributors of it, and I'm sure Ray Trade are pushing them constantly to bring more UK legal firearms into the UK. So let's have a quick catch up again on the questions. So Ad H, tell Alex please will be round when lockdown is lifted for a 243 rifle package. Will do. Pass that on. I mean, Alex is still sort of running the gun room, because he is based on site. He lives on site. Literally, if you've been to Bluefield Sports, you'll know. He's not breaking lockdown by going and opening up the gun room, and he understands that there are many shooters out there, predominantly stalkers and hunters and pest controllers, that still need gun shop services. They still need to be buying ammunition, be that for rifle or for shotguns. They may need their gun services. Some shooting at the moment is absolutely essential, and for them to do their job, they might need access to a gun room. So if there is something that is absolutely essential and necessary, and you need to get in contact with a gun room or a gun shop, because most of them are completely shut, drop Bluefield Sports a message, because Alex should be able to help you. But please don't do it if it's not necessary. Again, stay indoors and protect the NHS. How's it going? Which is bigger and better, 243 or 308? I'm not so hot on rifle and rifle calibers. Obviously, what's bigger it has to be the 308. That's sort of in the name. And better is going to definitely be subjective. It depends what you're using it for. I mean, for foxes, a lot of people will prefer 243. For target, shooting, most people will prefer the 308 or even the 6.5 Creedmoor. There was actually a lot of comments about my selection of rifle. So I said that I was going to go and get, or put down on my application for a 308 bolt action rifle, and loads of people came back and said, why a 308? Why not get a 6.5 Creedmoor? It's flatter, more accurate, an all-round better round. Again, like I need to look more into it. I don't believe there is a 6.5 in the gun room here to really investigate that, but it is something that I'm going to look into. You know, I am open to changing my mind, but I will see. I mean, you just can't. For me, like 308 is trusty. I know my way around it. I've shot a fair amount of 308, and I've owned a Remington 700 before in 308. So it's just, it's the devil I guess. But I know loads of people have made the switch over to 6.5 Creedmoor. This might not be an issue, but I do feel like 6.5 Creedmoor is a little bit more expensive and potentially harder to get hold of, which again would probably make me lean to the 308 because it's plentiful. Like, if a gun shop doesn't have 308 in stock, it's not much of a gun shop in my mind, unless they're a shotgun specialist, of course. Maybe worth pointing it from Tom. Maybe worth pointing out, West Lakes require slots for extra cylinders. So, for those of you that really don't know what we're talking about in terms of Allen Westlakes, they are normal size revolvers that are muzzle loaders. When I say muzzle loaders, they're chamber loaders. So it's a standard revolver where you can obviously, you flick the chamber out, or the cylinder out even, and you pull the whole cylinder off the gun. You load it up separately, put it into back onto the gun, and then shoot it, obviously. Well, because the cylinder is a pressure bearing part, it's a licensable part, which means that you've got to have it on your FAC for every single one. Now, again, I know Alex, for example, I think he has an Allen Westlake with three spare cylinders. It depends what you're using it for, what disciplines and sports you're using it for, whether you can justify having that. Obviously, Alex has been able to justify that, but yeah, you do need to apply for each and every slot. Again, I might add, I will seriously sit down and think about what I will need for what I plan to do with that firearm, and I will be applying for extra cylinders if I feel that it's required and necessary. Again, guys, really appreciate all the questions and the comments. Keep them coming. Anything you want to talk about, any topics, any questions, just fire away. Mr. Top Gun 308 recently got the Chiappa triple shotgun. That's one of those guns that, because luckily, obviously, being no more than 3 cartridges in the gun, can go on section 2, and I had always, when I had my SGC, I did always think about picking one up as a bit of a laugh. I can't really see a whole use for it in terms of in terms of clay shooting or even hunting. I don't really know what Chiappa was thinking with it, but it is pretty epic. It's like the Rhino in being like a unicorn gun. You just sort of have to have one, so it might become part of the collection once I have my SGC back. How would you comment on Beretta 694? Is it better than the 692? Again, like, you guys are really challenging me tonight. That is, whilst I am a complete Beretta fanboy, I don't know if, can you see? Yeah, I've got it over my shoulder there. My first ever gun that I bought was a Beretta Silver Pigeon. Alex is far better clued up on the Beretta line. It's ever changing and ever evolving, and it is quite an extensive line. Usually, so 686. I think usually the way it works is the higher the number, the sort of newer or higher grade the gun. So just on the number alone, I would say that the 694 is going to be better, but then define better. It's sort of horses for courses. Unfortunately, I can't particularly answer that question very well. But yeah, if you are wanting any advice on Beretta, Alex prides himself as being a Beretta sort of dedicated dealer. I don't think that, I believe there's a single Browning in the shop available, so you can talk to him if you really need the need some help on that. What's my opinion on the Lantac 9? So we were talking earlier about the Caliber Innovations Siskar 9mm. Of course, there was a rush of companies developing and releasing these straight pull 9mm after the news of the ban came in. So obviously the lever release, which is sort of everyone's favourite 9mm within the UK, they've been banned. Obviously they still haven't taken them away yet. Okay guys, I'm going to have to just remind you, it is 8 o'clock, so please give our NHS a round of applause. Nice big clap. Go out to the window, go out to your doors, give them a nice big clap. Unfortunately, I am here in the middle of the countryside and there's like no one for miles, but anyway, give them a nice big clap of appreciation for everything that they're doing for us fighting on the front line. But yeah, back onto the 9mm. So there was a rush to develop a straight pull in replacement of these lever releases, which have been banned but haven't been taken away yet, and with everything going on, it's just going to prolong it even further. It was May last year that they announced, or that it came into effect, into law. So it's going to go well over a year and still no one knows what's going on. But anyway, on to the original question, what do I think of the Lantac 9? I honestly have no opinion of the Lantac 9. I haven't even seen one in the flesh, never mind actually shoot one. So it's I can't really comment on it. If I'm going to start commenting on what I know of Lantac, then it's probably not going to be very good. I know that Lantac do make very high quality guns. The product for me has never been an issue. They really are the sort of the top end when it comes to ARs. Unfortunately, the company I don't think very highly of, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't be disappointed with the Lantac 9. You probably will wait a while for it, unfortunately. But yeah, I haven't seen anything. I don't even know if it. I know they've put a load of media out and adverts about it, but as far as I've never seen any pictures of one out in the wild. So whereas the Siskar I've seen plenty of, and the SGC, of course, the Southern Gun Company have developed an underlever AR 9mm, which I think is absolutely crazy. Those guys just really do like finding every little avenue that they can get around to give us a nice selection. So yeah, that's an interesting one to sort of check out. But I believe Southern Gun Company as well do have their straight pull 9. But personally, if I was going to recommend a straight pull 9mm in the UK, it would be the Caliber Innovation Siskar. Chris Smith, can you do a review of the new Vortex Strike Eagle when it becomes available? Absolutely. I mean, again, another brand that is heavily stocked at Bluefield Sports is Vortex. It is the only scopes that you will see in the shop. But if Alex gets a new one in, maybe I can even talk to Country Sports Wholesale and maybe get even a demo one in when it becomes available. With everything that's going on at the moment, all these new releases, all these new products, they are completely on hold. I believe the Vortex Razor HD Gen 3 1 to 10, that's been heavily delayed as well. I am desperate to sort of take that out into the field and try it out. I have got my hands on it during the British Shooting Show, but unfortunately that model needed to be sent out. I think coincidentally it was going to be sent out to EWA or maybe SHOT Show. I think it's EWA that comes after it. Of course that was unfortunately cancelled in the end, but as soon as we have any new scopes in, I'll be sure to review them. Can Bluefield Sports get hold of the Vortex Diamondback line of scopes? Absolutely. I believe there's one or two actually on the shelf. Don't hold me to that, but again, the Diamondback line, I think, is probably the best value for money that that Vortex do. The quality is incredible for the price point of the scope. and the lifetime warranty, you're going to have a decent scope at a good price for life with absolutely no quibbles from Vortex. So if they don't have one in, again, they can get one in pretty much next day. So anything from the Vortex line, give Bluefield Sports a call, and they can sort you out. A question from Kieran. Hi, I'm new to shooting. What are the chances I could get a firearms license and maybe 2 rifles? Also, I'd be able to get a centerfire rifle. I'll be target shooting. Thanks. Enjoy content. Well, thanks for watching the content. In terms of, I mean, you're asking if there's any chance you can get a firearms license. I mean, without knowing you, there's loads of aspects that could easily make you viable for an SGC or would exclude you. So it does depend on age, it does depend on, you know, your experience. But if you're new to shooting and you want to get into having your own FAC and your own guns, make the first step, as I was talking about earlier. Go and join a club. If you're not already a member of a club, go and do that as soon as you can. Start researching that, and then that's your gateway to an FAC. If you're already a member of a club, there should be people there that can help you and guide you with an FAC. Of course, you're always welcome to drop me a message through Facebook or email. You know, I try and pick up as many as I can. But yeah, the best, if you haven't already joined a club. I mean, you're saying, basically you want to get 2 centerfire rifles for your first FAC. That is going to be more than sensible. I don't think the police can argue with having 2 centerfire rifles if you're a member of a Home Office approved club. Or a full member of a Home Office approved club. That is a very important distinction. Just because you're a member of a club doesn't necessarily mean that you can go and apply for an FAC, because pretty much every single club will have a probational period. It's usually 3 to 6 months, and once you've completed that and you become a full member, that's when your club will support your application. So you do need your club to support your application, and they're not going to do that until you're a full member, or they feel that you are sort of competent enough that they feel safe in vouching for you, basically. Philip, what is your view of the Uberti single action LBR? Uberti, I think I know what you mean. I'm just going to give that a quick Google. Let's go. I think I know what you mean, although it might be a Chiappa. Is that the revolving one? Is that the... Are you talking underlever? I don't know. I might not actually know what you're talking about. Let me give a few more details about that, like the model number. I know you said it's an LBR, single action LBR. I mean, no, I mean, it wouldn't be... Is that a single action? Well, I think it's a Chiappa. I might be getting very confused. It's been a very hot day, and I've spent most of it in this container getting absolutely sweltering. So I've got plenty of drinks. I mean, the wine and salty meat probably isn't helping, but I feel very fried. But yeah, give me a little bit more information about that gun, and have a look. Again, you can try and get one in if you really would like a review. Question from Carl regarding the lever release ban taking time. The Mini 14 was supposed to be banned in 2012, and the current situation is it looks like it won't be banned until 2020. Government takes time. I wasn't actually, if I mean like living under a rock, did I have my FAC in 2012? So, yeah, I mean, was the lever release, or are you talking about Norway or the UK? Because I believe the Mini 14 is still legal here. I've definitely known friends that have had them, and I've even shot some. I think it was a Ruger Mini 14. I don't know if it's banned here, actually, but you might be talking about Norway there. So, oh, Mr. Top Gun, my Chiappa, triple Chiappa is on FAC. You can remove the stock. Real talking point at the playground. Now, that's an option I like. That is a real option I like. There's always been a bit of a grey area when it comes to Section 1 shotguns, and I believe this is correct. Don't hold me to it, but my belief is that with the way that the law is worded, if you have a Section 1 shotgun that has greater than 3 shots capacity, well, more than 2 in its magazine and a detachable magazine, then it has to conform to the minimum length, which for a shotgun, 26 inches. I'm really bad tonight. I usually know stuff like that off the top of my head. But there's a minimum barrel length, which is the same minimum barrel length as a shotgun on a Section 2. But I believe that if the shotgun has less than 2 magazines in really losing the plot now. If the shotgun has a magazine capacity less than, or 2 or less, then you can actually cut the barrel down to the rifle minimum length, which is 12 inches. So again, that might be complete nonsense, but I've seen many people say the same thing. I know I've seen people argue against it, but I believe that's my understanding of the law. So you could technically have a sawn off shotgun if you were to take like an over and under, or the triple. I guess that's why it's on your license, because you've been able to chop it down, so you might be able to just double confirm that for me. But yeah, I've always liked the idea of doing that, like turning a over and under into a Section 1 gun and cutting down the barrels. I don't know what sporting need I'd be able to justify for that. That could be an interesting conversation. Oh, I've seen my good buddy Dan has joined. Evening, Dan. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're keeping safe. So NHWGOA, I guess I know who you are. Made an account just to talk on here. Please don't abuse me. I get enough of that as it is. So thanks for joining, mate. Daniel, your post blocked on Facebook again. It's your own fault. Like, I don't even know what's happened. I just know it's already your own fault. The stuff that you send me and tell me about, I'm surprised you haven't been like lifetime banned yet. Perfect question from Mankuman010. What's the minimum number of cartridges you carry on your practical shotgun belt on a typical stage? So I said one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight was the new Nexus Pro. Again, I'm really sorry that due to social distancing and the lockdown, Connors couldn't be here himself to talk about it. He might be in the comments lurking. I'm sure he'd already be abusing me by now if he was, but hopefully he will join quickly, and he can maybe answer some other questions that I can't. So this isn't actually my belt. My belt's actually down on the floor. This is Connor's belt, but we both use exactly the same. It's the Magload Velcro competition belt with the very distinctive buckle, which, yes, I did laugh at, and I gave Connors a lot of ribbing for when he was like, I'm going to put a seatbelt buckle on the belt. And I was like, you're nuts. It's going to look ridiculous. But it really, really works, because with the older style belts, you're always like fiddling behind your back. Even the older Magload belts, it can be quite fiddly to get it on. And the seatbelt buckle, every single time, like how many of you how many times per day, obviously not at the moment, but in normal situations, do you put your seatbelt on without even looking? And that's exactly the same it is with this. It's obviously very adjustable. But yeah, so for all intents and purposes, I have the same belt. You've got the Nexus Pro 28. That is a 28. 1, 2, 3, 4, 14. So 28 capacity. Just got to check there. No, I didn't have to use my fingers and toes to count that high. So that's your Nexus 28, and I've got a Nexus 12. Now, this is my setup, basically. Some people go for something a bit different. Now, again, obviously, I don't have a Section 1 shotgun at the moment. So for me, like, rounds on your belt is far more important for Section 2. Because with Section 2, you're only starting with, on an Option 1 start, you're only starting with, is it Option 1? Oh, God. Basically a fully loaded gun, 1 in the chamber, 2 in the tube. I believe that's Option 1. Option 3 is completely empty. And with a Section 1 gun, you would, for standard division, it's a total of 9 in the gun. Again, I might get that completely wrong and Connor's going to shout at me. Let's just say it's 9. So for a section 2, you can have 3. With a section 1, you have 9. So you're 6 rounds instantly on the back foot. So, you know, those 6 rounds, you know, that's half a Nexus 12. So, you know, for me, it's very important to have as much capacity as possible. But even for section 2 or section 1, this is the rig that I would use. So I have the Nexus 12 there for weak hand loading. I don't do a huge amount of weak hand loading, hence why the 12 is on the left hand side. And I also will use that for my initial load. So when you go up to the line and you make the gun ready, I would pull it off of this, and then this will be the main rig. I mean, 28 rounds on its own will probably see you through 99% of stages. Certainly any short or medium stages. Some long stages can get really tricky. Obviously, it does depend if you miss, if you throw any on the floor, and all of that. But usually, as long as you're not throwing cartridges all over the floor, as long as you are you know, hitting the target with a good amount of accuracy, then a 12 and a 28 will do you fine. There is also, I don't have one to hand, but there is also a new 8 capacity, which I may even have that as my initial load. So as I get better with weak hand loading, I may, you know, want to keep the one on the left here completely full, and maybe put a Nexus 8 around the back, and then use that as my initial load. So yeah, I mean, in total 40 rounds should easily see you through any stage. Some people, so you're using the 40 round capacity, some people like to go for 220s. If you're as natural with strong and weak hand loading, then going for, you know, equal amounts on either side does make a lot of sense. I know some people, there's one Magload sponsored shooter, Rob Jones, he just has 132. So, you know, I'm saying 40 is all right for me. He finds that 32 is more than enough for him. And if you have any particular questions about any of this gear, guys, just let me know. But, you know, I said I would talk about it a bit further, but just answering that one question there. Obviously, if you're into your practical shotgun and you're shooting, I'm sure you probably are if you watch this channel, because it is heavily practical orientated. You'll all know that I've used the Nexus 12, the original Nexus from Magload, for a number of years. I was very lucky enough, before I actually really knew Connors and started working with him with Magload, he was very kind enough to send me one to review, and it was actually out of the first production batch of the first ever Nexuses to be made. So that is the original. Highly recommend this. These are still for sale at a discount now, because obviously they've been outdated, but still a fantastic loader. Really does pip a lot of the competitors, even still 2 or 3 years down the line. But there are a number of changes that, you know, people were requesting and people wanted, so that's why Connors has developed the Nexus Pro. And the biggest difference, just visually, is you can see how much more compact the original, the Nexus Pro is. Maybe that's a bit clearer on that, and see the wings on the side of there. So it's been shrunk down. The height is still exactly the same, but also its lightness. And Connors did actually tell me there were some scales about, which I very conveniently lost. So sorry, Connors. But the weight difference is absolutely phenomenal. I believe from memory these are 476 grams, and this is 476 and 266 grams. Basically around or just over 200 gram saving, which may not sound a lot, but this is only a 12. Think of the weight saving on a 28, and when that's all around your middle and you're running and being very dynamic, that weight will make a difference. Obviously you can see the aesthetic differences there. Connors has done a full video going through all of the differences if you are interested in more, so I won't sit here and repeat any of it, but there is a look there of the new Nexus Pro and the old Nexus original. I will have a review coming out of the new Nexus Pro as soon as possible. Obviously, working with Magload, being a part of the team, I do have a little bit of bias, but for you guys, just let you know, I wouldn't first have said what I said about the Nexus unless it was truthful. I didn't have any commitments to Connors at the time, but I just genuinely loved his stuff and ended up loving his stuff so much that I ended up, you know, sort of teaming up with him and deciding to share an office with him. Obviously not at the moment, but yeah, he's an absolute genius when it comes to all of the little products that he comes out with, and I have a little bit of input in terms of the design, like I fire ideas at him, but it's still all of his stuff. Like if he doesn't want something on a product or a product to be a certain way, it won't be you know, it's his way or no way. He will always listen to suggestions, be that from myself, be that from the sponsored team, or be that from people on the circuit. So if you do have any ideas, any improvements that you want from Magload gear, or there's a product that you've been dying to buy and no one's ever made it, drop Connors or myself a message and I'll get onto that. But yeah, I obviously do have an association. I can't be, say, completely impartial, but I will, you know, I will try my best in the review, but really, when you stack up all the other competitors, the Nexus Pro does blow everything out of the water, and that's a genuine statement, because Connors is just so amazing. And there will still be custom options. So I've managed to not only have I stolen some wine and some meat from Alex, I've actually got his own loader. So he had this custom made, and this is something that, again, Connors is very proud to be offering. If you want any sort of customization, Magload will do it. If it's not on the website, you know, just drop a message and he will try and do something for you. So obviously, with Alex being the owner and operator of Blue Field Sports, he had to have some blue in there, so that was a custom color. But pretty much any color under the rainbow can be made. But again, that's the old, I believe that's that's an old Nexus, original Nexus 20. I'm sure at some point Alex will have some new pros, no doubt. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that. I do need to give Magload a big plug, not just because Connors has been sweating away trying to get that pro out and deserves the credit, but it does also help the bills. So yeah, if you want to support the channel, if you want to support me and Connors, please head over to magload.co.uk and have a look if there's anything you would like to purchase. But yeah, keep your questions coming in, guys. I'll do my best to keep up. When you get me on a topic about Magload or practical shooting, I could just literally talk for hours about it. It's so it's just great stuff, really. So Carl, clarifying from earlier that he was talking about the Norwegian ban on the Mini 14. So they reckon, you see, he said 2012. So it's going to take them effectively 10 years to remove. It's like almost like, what's the point of banning them? I mean, that's what I said about the offensive weapons bill. Again, excuse me, guys, can't let this lovely meat go to waste. The whole point about the offensive weapons bill, and I can imagine the Mini 14 out in Norway, is that they've banned them because they perceive there to be a danger to the public. And then they take so long to take them out of the, you know, take them off of people. I mean, you know, let's just like speak hypothetically for a moment. What happens if a criminal was to get hold of a lever release, or a Mars gun at the moment, which is very unlikely. There's no cases of it ever being documented. But what happens if they do get hold of one, go and commit some atrocious act, and it's almost like, well, that gun, you know, you banned that gun nearly a year ago. Why was it still in the possession of someone? And this is what I've said. If the gun is genuinely dangerous enough to warrant being banned, then they need to get it out of the hands of people as quickly as possible. You know, but you know what I think about guns being dangerous? You know, it's the person behind the gun that's dangerous. I don't think any gun is any more dangerous than, you know, they can all do serious damage. You know, it's just about being safe and sensible with every firearm. But yeah, you know, it does stump me that they push that through and they rush that through, and then it's almost like, well, that was a complete waste. If really, you know, they're thinking about the public, if really they want to protect people, then if they've deemed them to be so dangerous, then they need to do something about it. Or maybe they've actually realised, you know, what it's actually going to cost to remunerate everyone for their guns. Mr. Top Gun, Section 1, shotguns always put down practical and also clay pigeons. Okay. I didn't know you could justify a Section 1 shotgun for clay pigeons. I know there's a number of people that have justified them for rough shooting, so for actual pigeon shooting, but within the CPSA I don't believe there's a single discipline that would warrant having a Section 1, apart from like trick shooting. And actually on that note, unfortunately I don't have the video to show you, but if you go onto the English Shooting Facebook page you'll be able to see it. I shared a video from the Northern Shooting Show of the guy doing trick shots through a Land Rover Discovery. Yep, I said that right. He's one side of it, throws the clays over the Discovery, and then shoots all the clays through the window, through the windows of the Discovery. Absolutely nuts. Now, as it would have it, Alex does own a Discovery. I was very quickly shot down in suggesting for me to recreate that video. But yeah, I mean, for trick shooting they use Section 1 shotguns because you need the capacity. You know, you throw clays up in the air, 10 clays, and you've got a Section 2, and I don't think anyone could load that fast. Maybe it's a challenge. Again, guys, please keep the questions and comments coming in, and I'll do my usual beg and borrow. Please, if you're watching and you haven't already hit that like button, please do. It really does help the channel with analytics. Oh, and I've been no, get away from my meat. I've been joined by a furry friend. Don't know if you can see. Where is it? Everything's a bit. Is it that way? There she is. It's Nala, the Maglode office cat. Well, it's technically Alex's cat, but she's more ours now. But yeah, she likes coming in through the window. Where is it? Through the window there, making herself at home. But she made an absolute beeline to my little snack here. Can't blame her. It's quite nice. Get away. Any questions for Nala? I'm sure she'll happily answer any questions. Question from Chris Smith. Underlever, Henry or Marlin? Which caliber would you go for? Fancy the 45-70, but ammunition prices are redonkulous. Yes, completely agree. So I actually covered this in the video about what guns I'm going to apply for my FAC application. And I did say that I will be applying for a 357 and a 44 underlever, 44 Magnum, obviously. I would love to have the 45-70. I'm incredibly envious of Alex's. I just can't justify, like you, the ammunition prices are ridiculous. Somebody did say that you can reload. Oh, bye Nala. You can see she's going to make her escape in a minute. Yeah, someone said that you can reload 45-70 for like 30p a round. That makes it a little bit more acceptable, but then it's like, if you're reloading to save money, why not just reload like 357 or 38 or 44 and save even more money? Personally, I lean towards the Marlins. I believe Henry, or certainly a lot of their models, they have the front loading, like you've got to unscrew the tube and then put it in. I just never like that. The mare's leg, actually, that is one Henry I would have. The mare's leg is again one that is sort of on my bucket list to go and get. Absolutely love that thing, and luckily UK legal. But I'm thinking one of the underlevers, you know, if I get permission for a 357 and a 44 on my FAC when I apply for it, one will definitely be a Marlin, if not both. And I don't know, like I'm gonna have like the baby brother, so it's the Marlin 1894, and there's different letters on the end to note whether it's a 44 or 30. 357 even, and I'm going to get the 44 or the 38 that looks like the 1895, because like it's such a sexy looking gun, and you can't, apart from the sort of the extractor or the port on it, you can't tell the difference. Obviously it's a much longer one on the 4570, and I just love that stainless metal and the lovely like grey wood that they have on it. Although Form rifle stocks of course are making some phenomenal stocks for that, some really nice looking ones, so you can keep the original, you know, nice and tidy, and then go and get another one. Although I still really wouldn't want to batter up one of the Form rifle stocks, because they are really, really nice. But yeah, I would say Marlin overall over Henry. And in terms of caliber, I mean, if I could only have one underlever, it would be a 357. And if I could only have one, it would probably be the Marlin 1894 in 357. That looks like the 44, the dyno gun basically. Again, we're just gonna catch up, guys, with all of your comments. Keep them coming in, please. Yeah, Carl Volt, the Discovery video is really cool. It's one of those, it's quite a short little clip, and you watch it first and you're like, did he just... And you watch it again, you're like, he did! Like, I would like to see if there were any... I mean, I suppose the spread, the pattern at maybe a metre or two through the car, it's still going to be very, very tight. But, yeah, I'm not going to volunteer my car to be doing that with. That's for sure. I've seen that Neil from Rack and Load has joined. Hi Neil, how's it going? Of course, Neil runs a live stream as well. And if you really don't know who he is, he runs Rack and Load, of course. But Neil was doing his live stream last night, and I joined him for that. And he's joined us. He's joined us tonight. I did actually tell Neil. I'm really sorry you're finding out this late. I did speak to him earlier, but the plan originally was to find some way for Connors to join me tonight, either through having a split screen or be in different areas of the estate here and sort of stream together. Unfortunately, the way that we, any real long-term fans of the channel, and Neil and Sam from Rack and Load and SRS Power, we used to do like joint streams, and we used to use Google Hangouts. And I said to Con as well, we're just Google Hangout. You can go and sit, in one room, and I'll sit here. We're social distancing, and we're hook it up through Google Hangouts. To only find that they closed down live streaming on YouTube with Google Hangouts a year or two ago. So unfortunately, that wasn't an option. But I said to Neil that we would next week try our best to get him on the channel to do a joint stream. Unfortunately, with Google Hangouts not wanting to play ball, luckily I've got a week to look into it, so I will try and find an option. There must be a way that we can both be on the stream at the same time, so I will look into that. But yeah, might be able to see Neil on the stream next week, depending on how things go. So Tom's saying he has a Smith & Wesson LBR. I mean, I've heard like various people, like I've heard rumours that there were some in the UK maybe a while ago. I know, maybe I'm not allowed to say, so I won't say who, but I have heard on the grapevine that a company is bringing in Smith & Wesson or certain Smith & Wesson clone LBRs. So I'm incredibly excited for that. I'm really, there's a few of you talking about these Uberti LBRs. Let me see if I can just see it. Oh, Target LBR. Just Google. Oh yes, it's the really ridiculous long-barreled one. Yeah, I've seen that plenty of times before. Never shot one myself. Yeah, that's obviously the laws in the UK is for it to not be a short arm. It needs a barrel of 12 inches and a total length of 24 inches. And some madman decided, well, why do I need a rod if I make the barrel much longer than 12 inches? So yeah, no rod on it. And I believe it is actually like a standard gun in some countries. I don't know what you would use it for. But yeah, that's the thing. It always makes me laugh when I see that. I've got a question about an FAC, Recaro, is that? Ricardo. As you can tell, guys, English is not a strong suit of mine. Reading or writing, much better with maths and guns. Would there be a problem when applying for an FAC for a practical shotgun and mini rifle if the only club nearby I join is for a target shooting club? Maybe. You're certainly going to have a slightly harder time justifying it. However, the way that the UK PSA works and sort of IPSC shooting in the UK works is that clubs are unfortunately few and far between. They're quite sparsely populated across the UK, so it can be difficult to maybe get to a club regularly. However, if you join the UK PSA, that actually validates you to shoot in any matches, whether you're a member of the club hosting the match or not. So if you become a UK PSA member and you go and get your competition license and you're ready to go into competition, that should be enough, and I believe it is for most counties, be enough to justify getting a Section 1 shotgun, because you can say, like, look, my club doesn't do it, however, I can go all over the country and shoot any matches, any matches I want in mini rifle or Section 1, shotguns, practical shotgun. So that should be enough. Or join Kentucky Firearms Club. I mean, it depends where you are in the UK, but if you can make it down to Kentucky Firearms Club a few times and you become a full member, they have members all over the country. So but yeah, I mean, as long as you're a UK PSA member, as long as you have you've done a safety course, that should easily justify you, because you can go all over the country and shoot matches. God, you're all really interested in the in Tom's 686. Why are you holding out on me, Tom? Like, why am I only finding out now that you have a Smith & Wesson 686? When the lockdown is over, please can you bring it down to Bluefield Sports? Like, I've never seen a 686 in the UK, not like a genuine Smith & Wesson. So that would be amazing to do a video on. And I promise not to lick it. I can't speak for Connors, but I can promise I won't lick it. So Sonny Bailey, I have a Smith & Wesson and a Rhino. Yeah, lucky get. That's a tough decision, actually. Whether if there was a Smith & Wesson 686 or a Chiappa Rhino, what would, and I could only have one, what would I go for? Oh, that's it's sort of got to be the Smith & Wesson, doesn't it? I mean, the Rhino is a bit of a unicorn gun, but the Smith & Wesson, it's just one of those, like, guns you have to have. Like, whether you like revolvers or not, like, it's just an absolute classic of a gun. I guess it's the same as, like, being British and owning an Enfield, which unfortunately I've never done. But of course there will be an Enfield being applied for during my application. So hopefully I can change that in the months or years to come. So Carl Volk saying, in terms of the Mini 14 ban, it's politics. They're only banning it because of one attack in 2011. Last year, gangsters used a Soviet machine pistol for a store robbery. Yeah, that's it. Ban the Mini 14s, but they're running around with machine pistols. It's like the one that always, like, I say cracks me up. That's probably not the most sensitive term to use, but the one that always, I'm not going to use cracks me up. It's one I always find a bit odd, let's say, is in the Netherlands, they can have handguns and semi-automatic full-bore rifles, but they can have shotguns. They just can't have single-barreled shotguns. So it's almost like the complete reverse of ours, whereas we're completely, like, I'd say, unrestricted on what we can own on shotguns. Like, any shotgun out there apart from full auto, you can own under an FAC or an SGC. But yeah, single barreled shotguns in the Netherlands are illegal because of one mass shooting. And it does make me laugh that it's okay. It's, you know, they're reactive, but we all know that, you know, the handgun ban, that crime figures went up afterwards, and actually law-abiding citizens and law-abiding gun owners have very little to do with any sort of gun crime that goes on. But I just find it funny in the sense that one country's had one mass shooting with one gun, so they banned it, and we've had mass shootings with 2 other guns and we banned it here. And it's almost like, well, if it's happened out in the Netherlands, why haven't they done it here? Or it's like, maybe it's nothing to do with the type of gun that's used. Maybe I don't know. I'm just going out on a limb there. But yeah, it's bonkers. I love hearing all of the different, you know, laws and regulations between the countries, because it just really, in a way, proves how, in some sense, outdated some firearms laws are. Anyway, enough of that. Wiggyman 100. Do you know anywhere that produces a genuine match 5-round 2.2 LBP in a Maroni type Olympic style? No, I've definitely seen Olympic style 2.2s that are long barrel pistols, because they put counterbalances. They almost look like old TV antennas. Where they're produced, I don't know. Potentially someone in here can help you out. Who's probably the best person to get in contact with? Potentially even Alan Westlake. If you give Westlake Engineering I mean, again, he gave birth to the long barrel pistol, so he certainly should be able to point you in the right direction. Maybe even if you get in contact with the NRA, the NSRA, or what is it? Shooting Britain? There's like the Olympic organisation for Olympic shooting sports. They will definitely be able to point you in the right direction. Not the biltong. It's not biltong. It was some other lovely salted cured meat that Alex brought in for me. The biltong didn't make it past the day that it arrived here. I've got an issue, and lockdown's stressful. All right. Carl Volt, with LBR and LBP shooting, do you guys practice different power factors regarding to 2.2 and 357? There are different divisions. I've definitely seen some revolver divisions in some sort of LBR, LBP, pistol competitions in the UK. But unfortunately, there's not a huge amount of. I mean, I'd say with LBP shooting, it's a fairly niche area of shooting sports in the UK as a whole. And then, using a revolver and LBR is even more of a niche than the LBPs. But I do know that Tim Gardner of Firing Solutions, he is like a resident UK revolver expert. He's sponsored by Reload Swiss Reload, and I've definitely seen him use a few revolvers in UK competitions. But yeah, they are available. But obviously, 2.2 is semi-auto pistols are the most sort of popular when it comes to LBP or LBR shooting. Yes, Connors, I'm still going. I haven't got you here to weigh me down. You missed, Connors. You missed the lovely salty meat that Alex brought for me. If only you'd stayed. Connors was here earlier, but obviously we've been working separately, and as I said, we just couldn't find a way to get him on the stream. And Connors, I did your plug. I did your plug of the new Nexus Pro. He's now going to whore himself out and try and get as many sales as he can. That's for sure. Austria banned pump shotguns over one incident, but semi-autos are still legal. That's just like, it's just silly, isn't it? It's just absolutely ridiculous. Yes, we're going to ban a gun that technically cycles slower, but it's like, it's not the gun. Like, it's not the gun. Like, what more can you say? If you can't laugh about it, what can you do? No, there's my open Pepsi. Pardini makes a 2.2 long barrel target pistol. Think it's called the long arm. Yeah, guys. Oh yeah, Connors has chipped on that. Yeah, sorry you're late. Yeah, slacker. Eating dinner. I'm slaving away here. He's just going to rip into me now, I know. I did have a few things, other things to talk about, as I said at the beginning of the stream. So I'm going to crack one of those out now. Again, guys, anything you want to talk about, any topics, any questions that you have, please put in the comment section. And again, please hit that thumbs up button and help share this and grow the channel. So I got sent this. So I was contacted, and usually I do get a lot of requests. You know, like messages come in and emails come in going, you know, please can you review this, and if we send you one of these. And I have to be honest that a large majority of them will never make it on the channel, because they send it to me and I end up sending a review. I end up saying, sending a message back to them going, I'm more than happy to do a review of this, but I can promise you, you won't sell any because of my review. You know, I've like, what was it, ages ago, they sent me, they were like, oh, we have some specialist hearing protection for you to review. So I was like, okay, cool. You know, I like my custom fit guards, but you know, these were over ears. They were like the cheapest, nastiest. I've actually got them. Like, they're actually here. I will grab them because they're ridiculous. Bearing in mind that these were sold specifically as shooting hearing protection, and I'll show you how ridiculous they are. I mean, because those aren't going to hit your stock at all. And actually, I've got one hit. Like, that's ridiculous. They're meant to be as slim as possible, and they're huge. So I just said, if you really want to know what they are, I think they're like 10 quid off Amazon. The only time I've ever used these was actually when we were playing around with an alarm, and I just happened to go and grab them and you know, that was the only use I've ever had. But they're just, you know, they're like health, and they're proper like PPE for a workshop or a work environment. They're not suitable for shooting. And I said to them, like, that's going to be my review. Like, if you want a pair of, like, you know, fairly inexpensive over ears, then yeah. If you want something that's you're going to be able to shoot well with, you know, don't buy those. So they were like, yeah, don't worry about the review, you know. So anyway, I got in, it was a company, DLG, and they sell their stuff through a company called Europe Outdoors. Go and check them out if you're after any sort of shotgun upgrades. But they said, like, look, go and look through our site and pick a few bits that you want to review. And the only gun that we had something sort of applicable for was a Remington 870. So they sent me this kit, which I will be doing a full review of, and obviously it's your a tactical, practical 4-end upgrade. This does actually obviously come apart, so you've got your grip, and then it gives you this mil-spec buffer tube. So I will test actually if you can put any stock on there. It might be proprietary, but we'll see. We still haven't worked out actually how to get it on. That's why it's still on loose. But I have to say, out of the box, and it's not just me, Connors will vouch, and he's not an easy man to impress. He was very impressed with the quality and the build of this thing, and I was quite impressed. I was thinking, oh, here we go, it's going to be some cheap ass plastic thing from China, rebranded as European made or whatever. But no, first impressions out of the box. In terms of the quality, how everything feels and fits together, and you've even got an adjustable cheek riser there. So yeah, very very impressed. As I said, it's not often that something comes in for review, and I'm that fond of it. So really looking forward. We do have a section 2 Remington 870 and a section 1, so we will probably chop and change them between the two so that Connors can have a good go with the section 1 and I'll be limited to my section 2. But yeah, we will be testing that out on the channel very very soon. So again, if you're interested in learning more, it's DLG, and it's Europe Outdoors that you need to you need to search for, basically. Yes, Connors, we know food is priority. It's quite obvious. So Alex Florence, hello Alex. I've got a pair of Pelter M3Ms the same size as that. They're good for precision pistol shooting because you can't hit anything, but awful for anything else. Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're shooting pistol, I can imagine they'd be all right, but you know, I don't want to have to carry several sets of hearing protection. You know, I've now got, you know, I made a video on it recently, so I won't bore you again. The two I go for were the 3M Peltors, and I've got my custom fit guards, and that will see me through absolutely every bit of shooting that I'll ever do. Yeah, there's Connor's again vouching for me on that. You know, expected to be bad. We all expected it to be bad, but pretty impressed. I have been actually. So there's loads of bits that I've got. I can't keep these, unfortunately, but I know Daniel Smerald, if you're still watching, hi Dan. He sent me down a load of rail scales and Black Slate Industry sort of rail guards. And a couple of other goodies to review. I'm dying to be able to get out onto the range and film those. But we'll see if the opportunity comes up soon to be able to do that. Grand Theft Avocado. That's pretty good name. I have a 12-inch barrel Remington 870 with a pistol brace. Pistol brace. You wouldn't be in America, would you? It's got to be America. Wouldn't you pull the adjusting lever the opposite way to get the stock on, similar to the MP 1522? Yeah, Connors is right. I'll show you, and I know what's going to happen. I'm going to show you it, and it's going to work, isn't it? But so the opposite way would be pulling it down there. It just will not go. I mean, you know, I've fitted a load of different stocks to different ARs before. Connor's had a go with it, I had a go with it, so I'll have to give them a quick message. I'm sure it's really simple and really easy, and I am just being stupid, but I'll get in contact with the person that sent it, and I'm hopeful that they'll be able to tell me how to actually use it. Callum isn't very observant. Be careful, Alex. Be careful. You're treading a fine line here, my friend. I could put... Oh, Nala's back. Hi, Nala. Come on. I have a load of embarrassing photos, Alex. Just be careful. Are you coming up? Come on. Come on. There we go. So at least I'm not alone for the stream. She's very soft and fluffy, although she was very dusty today. Try a Magpul CTR on that stock adapter. Yeah, I'll try. You know, if it is AR-15, if it is mil spec, then we should be able to put some funky stocks on there and do a full review of the full kit and some additions on it. But we'll see how that goes. Oi! Oh no! Oh, if we go down, it will be her fault. She's definitely going to try and sabotage the stream, isn't she? Go on then. Any other topics or questions, guys, you want to talk about? Otherwise I may think about wrapping it up. It is getting late and I would like to go home, but no, I always enjoy doing these streams. Really appreciative of everyone that oh, bye Nala. Everyone that joins in. So yeah, if you've got any other last minute topics or questions that you have, yeah, please let me know. Munich airport by any chance? Oh yes. So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, Alex Florence and I went to Oktoberfest a number of years ago. Let's just say the beer affected Alex in a horrible way, and I've never let him forget it ever since. But yeah, it's that was quite funny. An amazing experience. If you ever have the chance to go to Oktoberfest, do it. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best experiences I've had. Just the after effects for Alex weren't the best. So is there anything else that I was going to cover tonight? I think I've been very efficient, and I've gone through it all. So just as a reminder, there is a new video out on the channel tonight. It's about building a range at home. You know, I'm sure you're all cooped up inside, but if you've got an air gun, if you've got BB guns, there's no reason for you not to be shooting still. So, you know, watch the video if you want some tips and tricks, or, you know, you're a bit unsure of what you need to do. I hope I've included everything there for you guys to be able to confidently build your own little range and still be safe and still be, you know, responsible and have fun. But yeah, go and watch that video, because, you know, during lockdown I'm probably going to be doing a few more. I might do some airgun reviews actually. There's a number of air guns around the gun shop here, so I may take them back and, you know, do some proper reviews. I've never well, I did a review of the BSAR-10, but I think that's like the one and only air rifle review that I've ever done, and Neil from Rack and Load always says I should do more, so I might have to use this time to my best. Bryson even, have you ever done a video with a machine gun before? Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to shoot a variety of different machine guns. They should be on the channel. There should be a video of shooting an MP5. And then if you look at the American Shooting Trips vlogs from 2018, there's one where we were in Las Vegas and we went to a gun shop. Well, it was a gun shop with a range on it, and I managed to shoot a Thompson and a grease gun there. Again, pretty much all of the American shooting trips I've been on to, there was a machine gun involved, so go through. Of course, I've got to give a shout out to American shooting trips, because I was meant to be out in Kentucky at the moment shooting machine guns. We were going to be shooting Knob Creek, or going to Knob Creek and shooting a sub-gun match there. But yeah, I mean, when I've been to, both times I've been to Utah, there have been loads of opportunities to shoot guns, machine guns. That's why I love going there. I think probably one of my best experiences with a full auto, I mean, the MP5, that was my first full auto I think I'd ever fired, so that's always going to have a special, you know, place in my memory. But there's a video, again, it's one of the days, I think it's one of the last vlogs of the 2018 trip to Utah, where I get to shoot the Cobalt Kinetics. And I don't know if I explained in the video, and I can't remember if I explained before, so if I have, then bear with me. But we were working with Cobalt Kinetics to develop a Cobalt Kinetics straight pull, and they did actually get quite far down the development path. Unfortunately, like, it was going to be Bluefield Sports bringing them in, but things just sort of fell down. Communication fell apart. It was always difficult communicating backwards and forth between America and the UK, and it never really happened. But during the development, while we were out there, what was his name? Oh, I think it begins with T. Can't remember the name. It's like, he's a great guy. I think he's the CEO or MD. Or like head of development, but he basically came down to the ranges there in Utah to do some testing with his straight pull, and next minute he pulls out like a pistol AR-15 machine gun and a full-size competition gun machine gun, and the thing that impressed me so much about that gun was the muzzle brake. I've actually got the muzzle brake on my Smith as well, but it shot so flat, the video, and I've used it before. Like, every opportunity I get to use this bit of footage, I use it, but I'm like leant back one-handed with this full auto 223, and it's just flat, like absolutely dead flat. Like, you know, I've got it braced a little bit, but it's not like I'm gripping on for dear life. That was a fun experience as well, because the guy came along with a big, like, ammo tin of 223, and we're sort of all stood there like, that's a lot of ammo for one person, you know. And we were sort of just like standing there minding our business, and then he like looks at the ammo, looks at us, and goes, "Digging, guys." And we're like, "Okay, well, how much can we have?" He's like, "It's all tax write-off, go for your life." So it's like just loading the magazines as fast as we can. That's probably the most machine gun shooting I've ever done in one go, because it was literally like, take a mag, shoot it, go top it up, shoot it. But what he didn't warn us about was the long AR-15 was nice and controlled because of the muzzle brake. The shorter pistol machine gun was not. So if you went from the longer one to the shorter one, it really did catch you off guard. You just, like, the muzzle flip on that was absolutely unreal. So yes, I've done a little bit of machine gun shooting out there. It's always, like, again, like, I would love for us to be able to own one here if there was, you know, justifiable reason for it. I could have a lot of fun, but I think, like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think you would end up getting bored, because for us it's a huge novelty. Like, as you know, Englishmen, Irishmen, Welsh, wherever you're tuning in from in the UK, they you know, we don't have the opportunity, and most people from the UK will never have the opportunity to shoot a full auto. So for us, it's huge novelty, and we're never, like, I'm never going to turn down an opportunity to shoot one. But if I owned one legally in the UK, like, yeah, probably for the first week I would be maxing out my credit cards for ammunition. But afterwards, like I enjoy the sport of shooting, and, you know, unless I start doing subgun, you know, machine gun competitions, you know, maybe. But yeah, I think I would end up being like, no, I'm gonna take, like, the bolt action out today because it's getting far too expensive. So I've seen a few more questions pop in, so I will just, you know, go through these questions. I probably will round it up after that, unless anything more comes through. But if I get to the bottom of it, I will be shutting down the stream. So if you've got questions, put them in now. I did see that CJ from 617, thanks for joining, CJ. How has the sale of the Nexus 100 been? So again, I talked about this last week. I took it home especially to be able to talk about it. But if you haven't seen it, I mean, for comparison, well, this is the Nexus 100. It was the Magload April Fool's video that we released. So to put it into perspective, that's a Nexus 12, right? And even, okay, it's not the biggest capacity loader. Obviously, there's the 32, but the 28 is usually the biggest someone will go. So that's usually the biggest size of loader you will see on a belt. And then you have this. You could just, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Connors, I'm sure if he's still here, can attest. We were actually worried about how it was gonna, like, hold itself on the belt, and he was seriously, like, asking for suspenders. Yes, needless to say, the sales of the Nexus 100 have sort of not exceeded expectations, but I know a load of people got a good laugh from it, and that's what it was all about. But as I said last week, there were a number of people that took it far too seriously, and we were like, oh guys, calm down, it's a joke, it's April Fool's, like, we don't actually think that's realistic for practical practical shooting. Grand Theft Avocado. My desire to save up for a machine gun has plummeted since they came out with the binary triggers. Well, they banned bump. I guess you're talking about out in the US, obviously, but I mean, they banned bump fire stocks. So I wouldn't put it past it for binary triggers to go as well at some point in the US. I know, obviously, you guys will fight tooth and nail for that. HMS Legacy. I left a question on your video of what you'll be applying for. It's a tad long for the stream, but would you mind giving some advice whenever you have some free time? Absolutely. I mean, the best thing to do is to drop me a message. Oh, just seen, let me go and see who that was. Shrimpy has just donated, so a big thank you to Shrimpy, really appreciated. Again, guys, I know I went over this, someone donated last week as well. So, you know, just to clarify that every penny that English Shooting generates, either from donations, from Patreon, or, you know, ad revenue, does go back into the channel. We do always reinvest it. You know, we don't just use it for yes, Connors, every time someone tips, it's like it does confuse me, because it doesn't happen very often. But yes, again, every penny does go back into the channel, so really appreciate that, Shrimpy. If you have a question at all, just let me know, but I appreciate the support. Yes, back HMS Legacy. If you probably best to drop an email, EnglishShooting@gmail.com, even EnglishShooting@gmail.com. I will pick up emails better than I will comments. I do read every single comment, and I do read every single message or email that comes through. I don't, unfortunately, reply to absolutely every single one of them. You guys do keep me busy. There are a lot of comments and questions and emails and stuff that come through, and that's just English Shooting, never mind Gutroom TV and Magload and Blue Field Sports and all that. So I do try my absolute hardest, because you've taken the time to out your day to message, and it's sort of the least I can do to do it back. But yeah, comments are the ones that are likely to get sort of missed more, because there are just so many of them. Emails, I do. It might take me a while. If you've ever messaged on email before, it might take a little while, but I do mark every single one that comes in, and when I get a bit of time, I'll go through them all and fire back your questions. So yeah, EnglishShooting@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Some coder, Callum, what shooting trips would you recommend? It would have to be American shooting trips. Absolutely 100% American shooting trips. No shadow of a doubt. I mean, I don't even really know if there are any other trips from the UK to go shooting. I mean, there's loads of experiences out in America that you can fly out to and pay a load of money and do. But David from American Shooting Trips, he will take care of absolutely every aspect of the trip for you. So if you want him to book your flights, your accommodation, your car, and plus take care of all the guns and the ammunition, he will. Like, basically, you say what your budget is, and he will go and book everything that you need, which is really, really nice. It's stress and hassle free. And of course, at the bare minimum, if you get an American Shooting Trips package and you want to book hotel, car, and flights yourself, again, everything within the shooting package is included. I think the only thing he says to take is a 2-part belt, and they're like 30 to 50 quid depending on which one you go for. So that's what I really like about American Shooting Trips. If you are a complete shooting novice, they will want to make sure that you're at a minimum level first. But you pretty much, if you've had like very little shooting experience, they will get you out there, take care of everything. They give you the gun, they give you the ammunition, they give you all the holsters and stuff. Just take a belt and you're covered. And I've been on a couple of American shooting trips, as I was saying just a minute ago. I was meant to be out in Kentucky this week. Unfortunately, with everything that's going on, that got cancelled, but I will be going out there in October, and I believe there are a number of spaces still available. Obviously, everyone that was due to go out in April has now been shifted over to October, so I know a lot of spots have been instantly filled up. So if you are fancying a machine gun IPSC 3-gun night shoot, creek shoot, field trip, shooting trip out to America, then get in contact with American Shooting Trips. And David is part of Caliber Innovations. He's part of Kentucky Firearms Club. He's part of American Shooting Trips, and he has been one of the most supportive people from the moment that I lost my license, straight through, and as a club, as a company, he's done absolutely everything that he can to sort of support me. So obviously Alex does an incredible amount for me here at Blue Field Sports, but he sort of knew what he was getting into when he met me. I was straight off the bat very honest and open with what my situation was, and he decided to still work with me nonetheless. But David was, I was shooting at KFC while I still had licenses, and it was one of the worst. There were loads of bad things about losing licenses, obviously, but one of the worst was having to phone various people, because I had to notify clubs, and I was dreading it. Like, I wouldn't have put it past people to run like an absolute, but some did like just go, don't want anything to do with you anymore. But David was one of those people that was like, nah, I know you, like, it's, I know what you're really like, I will support you as much as you can. So I always like to give a shout out to any of his companies, because I know all the guys, the genuine good bunch of people, and they're really passionate about growing the sport as well. Oh, air rifle, Springer or PCP? That's going to be a divisive question. I mean, in terms of performance, like, you can't beat a PCP. Obviously, like, they're more accurate, lower recoil. You know, you don't have to. If you get a bolt action one, obviously you don't have to break the barrel and charge it up each time. But if there was only ever one air rifle I would keep, it would actually be a Springer. But that's obviously for sentimental reasons, with it being my granddad's air rifle, and also the first trigger I ever pulled. So, you know, if I had to keep one, it would be that. But in terms of performance, the PCPs just wipe the floor with the Springers. Are you allowed to have slam fire shotguns? I mean, I can't imagine a sporting use for one or a hunting use for one. I mean, as long as it conformed to shotgun, length. So it had, again, I believe it's 24 inches for a shotgun, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But as long as it meets that minimum barrel length, and the overall minimum length, I think, is 40 inches. As long as you were to make a slamfire shotgun that, fitted those lengths, or over those lengths, then technically it would be legal. And if it's a single shot slamfire, it would actually go on a section 2. You're giving me some really bad ideas. Connors, what do you say? UK legal slamfire shotgun, single shot? That could be a project. Alex is probably watching this going, no way. HMS Legacy. I made a video on this at the moment. He's asked, are we allowed to go out shooting at the moment? Wouldn't thought so, but I've heard a few shots recently. I've made a specific video on COVID-19 and actually prepping as well. So, go and watch that video. It was released maybe a week ago. So if you go onto uploads on the channel, you'll be able to see it. I go into depth. Basically, as if it's not absolutely necessary, don't go and do it. And in terms of necessity, that's people like pest controllers and hunters that are required to go and protect livestock. We are heading into lambing season, and protecting crops and things and that. If you're just going out for fun, absolutely do not go out and shoot. Like, that's why I've done this garden range video. So if you are getting an itchy trigger finger, then build a little air rifle range in your garden, and sort of take your frustrations out on that. But please don't, again, I still see people like asking, like, oh, can we go to the playground yet? Like, no, like, this is like an international pandemic, and people are worried about going to the playground. Like, yes, I know shooting, if you're watching this, shooting is probably as important to you as it is for me. It is not more important than saving our NHS and protecting lives. Like, we can go a few weeks without doing some shooting. If you can't, build a garden range. And I mean, for like air rifle, like, I really wouldn't recommend just like going out there with like a 308. I'm sure your neighbours wouldn't be very happy. Carl Volt, the Nexus 100 would have been useful at the hard as hell 3-gun match with the 76 round shotgun stage. Yeah, the hard as hell. I believe they've done one, I think it's hard as hell, at the Utah range that we used to go for American shooting trips. And I actually posted the Nexus 100 video in the 3-gun information and gear group on Facebook. If you're really interested in getting into 3-gun and learning a bit more about it, I know it's obviously very different in the States than it is here, but that group is a wealth of knowledge. And I posted that, and there was a few guys going, that's ridiculous, and another few guys going, no, I've been to a few matches where that wouldn't be ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, there's, with 3-gun, like, pretty much anything can go as well. I don't know if there's round limits with IPSC. Connors might be able to confirm that for me. But I couldn't imagine ever seeing like a 76 round IPSC match. Maybe I'm wrong there. Oh, some coder. Thank you very much. Another tip. It's my most tipful night ever. Really appreciate it. My clay shoot. Yeah, I know it's hard. I know it's hard not to. It's not to go out and shoot, but really there are bigger things at play at the moment. But really appreciate the support. Really appreciate the donation. A really funny thing, right? And I'm sure this is it's doing this. I don't actually know how to withdraw the donations. but from everything I can't find a categoric. Maybe someone can clear it up here for me. I believe it is paid out with the ad revenue. So the channel is, I'm 99% sure is still benefiting from it, or otherwise there's a pot of money somewhere on YouTube I need to access. But yes, again, I'm pretty sure it's all on the ad revenue, because that comes through from Google, so I'm sure it's all paid the same, and then it helps me sort of budget for videos and gear and stuff like that to buy. Again, every penny goes back into the channel, so I really do appreciate it. Grand Theft Avocado, are you an electrical engineer still? I'm literally listening to the stream and doing a layout right now. I am. Well, I am still a qualified. Well, I have a degree in electronic and electrical engineering. I do a little bit of electronic design and soldering and sort of repair work. But guns are so much more fun. But no, I was a full-time RF design engineer, or hardware. I started my role as a hardware RF design engineer, and then went into a hardware design engineer. PCB layouts were always my most favourite activity. It's one thing that I could always just put my headphones in and just get in the zone and just do. And I was known as a little bit of a demon for PCB layouts. I was always pushing the boundaries and getting things as compact as possible. And unfortunately, and I've hinted at this previously on the channel, but the work I used to do was all military and police. Unfortunately, for that reason, I can't really describe too much what it was, or even show you. Well, I don't have anything to show you because I wasn't exactly allowed to take it away from work. But I was, really, really proud of some of the designs I did, and I keep on nudging at Connors to say, let's do a electronics project. Let's bring out a Maglo product that has some electronics into it, and I can go back to designing some stuff. I'm really chomping at the bit, but it has been a couple of years now. But yeah, I would jump at the chance. Funny enough, actually, I don't know if you can see it. Where's the camera? It's actually all of my excuse the mess, but it's actually all of my old textbooks from uni. As you can see, they're probably getting the same amount of use that they did at university, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, it's just there. Connors and I were having a conversation the other day about it was signal processing and communications and Fourier series, which any electronic engineers out there will either grimace or nod in accordance. And I ended up grabbing one of my old textbooks. I was like, I can't really remember, and I was flicking through. And anyway, let's get back onto shooting. I guess once an electronic engineer, always an electronic engineer. Mr. Top Gun 303 went to Slovakia on a stag do, went to a shooting range. They're brilliant. Yeah, sort of like that area of the world. They're very, let's say, laissez-faire. It's like, have you been drinking? Yes. Here's an AK. But yeah, there's fair play. Yeah, let's people talking about Thailand. Let's not talk about in India and the cows. Jesus. Have I ever shot a Browning BL22 lever action? Mine was due to arrive before lockdown. No, I haven't. Shot a fair amount of lever action guns. I say lever action. Do you mean under lever or lever action? Because technically you shouldn't be able to buy a lever action. Yeah, under lever or lever action. I suppose tomato, all that sort of stuff. The club, or maybe it was a Browning, I don't know. I know that the Imperial College Rifle and Pistol Club, where I first started shooting, they had a 2.2 underlever of some kind. I think it was a Winchester, maybe not a Browning. With their guns, 177 or 2.2. I would say, from my limited knowledge with air guns, I would say 177 for accuracy and 2.2 for hunting. That's generally the gist I've always got. So I've got the PCP 177 and I've got that Springer 2.2. Now obviously the PCP is far more accurate anyway, but I believe in before buying the BSA R10, I did a load of research, and the general consensus was that if you wanted accuracy, go for the 177. But obviously the 2.2 has more stopping power. I don't know if you can really say that with air guns, but it's a much heavier pellet. It's gonna drop something dead quite easily in terms of rats or general pests. Again, just trying to go through all of your questions. I think it was about half an hour ago I said I was gonna wrap it up, but you guys were keeping the questions coming, so all the time they come, I'll answer them. I'll chat away. Connor's confirming. So somebody actually asked the earlier in the stream, what is like the best capacity for your shotgun rig, and I said that I've got 40 in total in terms of a 28 and a 12. But Connor's has confirmed that for shotgun, the maximum rounds you can have on a stage is 28. So I mean, technically, loading up 9 in the gun to start plus your 28, that should be enough. But mistakes and misses do happen. So yeah, if the maximum you can ever have is 28, then having a 28 and a 12 plus your initial load of 9 in the gun is going to see you through pretty much every stage, unless you do miss or throw them on the floor. Yeah. NH desperately wanting to pick my new 243. I know Alex has it, but it's in the travel restrictions. So there is. I don't know if you know about this, but anybody that I know that their gun comes into the gun shop, either it's really customary for either Connors or I to give it a good lick before it goes onto your FAC. So I'm getting a bit hungry actually. Carl Volt, I'm still salty about the long course with empty start at the World Shoot in France. That was not fun. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go to there. Alex Florence, Callum didn't go to a proper university. I'm Callum, not Ryan. No need to bring Ryan into this. Bird, looking at buying a Smith & Wesson MP1522 second hand, first generation 4799, comes with a Vortex Spitfire ×3 and a few mags. Would you say it's a good deal, though an RFD, not private sales? I'm gonna say Alex is probably gonna be going, no, don't say it. I don't know what the Spitfires retail for, but like for a Gen 1, 800 quid with a few mags, I think that's potentially on the pricey end. I mean, it is through an RFD, not a private sale, so you are going to have a warranty there and some sort of guarantee. But I believe Blue Field Sports sells the brand new 1522, so the Mark II or Gen 2, whatever you want to call it, for like £600. And I don't think the Spitfires are any more than 200 quid, and obviously you get a few mags. But if you want to come and buy a package, if you're going to come and buy a few mags, a gun and a scope, there is always room for negotiation. So I wouldn't imagine, if you were to come to Blue Field Sports and buy everything new, I couldn't imagine it probably might be the same price, if only a little bit more. And I'd say for a brand new gun, it's always worth maybe spending a little bit more when you're talking the difference of maybe 100 to 150 quid. It does depend how well used the gun is. They are incredibly reliable. That's why I rave about them all the time. Mine has seen tens of thousands of rounds and has been absolutely battered by most people. And it's still going strong. The one thing is that the magazines do wear out, so it might seem like a good deal with a few mags, but if they're worn in any way, you'll be replacing them in short order. But yeah, for a Gen 1 again, it depends how much the Spitfires are, but that does seem a little pricey, if I'm going to be honest. I don't know if people agree with me on that one. Wouldn't be the first time that people disagree with me. So again, your questions and that are still coming in thick and fast, guys. It's brilliant. I'm not complaining, although I do have to sleep at some point. you're doing the layout for a sensor for a surgical robot. That's pretty cool. That's some pretty cool stuff. I do miss it. I do miss, you know, we used to use Altium. I do miss like tuning in, doing all the circuit design and circuit design, and then the layout, although the layout was always my favorite bit. Very British. I hope you own an Enfield. So glad to hear you were getting a 357 muzzle loading revolver. I hope a video about muzzle loading guns, muskets and black powder will come soon. I mean, guys, like, maybe I've hyped you up a little bit too much about this. Like, it was May the 1st that I was going to reapply for my licenses, and obviously it is going to be delayed because of everything that's going on. So it might not be a few months until I actually get any of these guns. Like, it could be a very long time, but I know loads of you have requested muzzle loading videos and muskets and black powder and reloading videos and stuff like that. You know, and I tend to, it's a lot easier for me to film stuff that either I'm doing or I have an interest in. Not saying I'm not interested in muzzleloader, but I've like never really done it. So, you know, once I do get the Alan Westlake, hopefully I do get that slot. You know, once I get the Alan Westlake, I'm going to do as much as I can to, you know, learn and then share with you guys. I mean, you know, I sort of find those videos the best. Certainly, I think they're better for you because it's all well and good if I know something absolute back and front. It's like some of the best school teachers I ever had weren't actually the best at that topic, so they knew where the pitfalls were and where people's like lack of understanding might be. And I think, like, you know, where I started the channel fairly early on in my sort of shooting progression and shooting career or journey or whatever you want to call it, I was learning things and sort of relaying what I had found out, you know, straight away. So, you know, that's going to be very similar with a lot of you know, or a few of the guns that I'm getting. There's going to be aspects to them that I've never really touched upon. So, you know, I'll be learning and I'll be sharing on to you guys what I learn, and probably a lot of laughter will be at my expense, but I'm used to that again. So again, just catching up with everything that's going on. No, we'll have beard hairs all over it. Yep, yeah, I'll give it a good rub over your gun, or include a few. You should try sharing an office with Connors. I shit you not, I could. Yep, I can see several beard hairs on the floor just from here. He's really like a molting dog. Yeah, Tom Ellaway scarred my Marlin for life. That's it. I mean, you know, I can highly recommend getting your gun and coming to Bluefield Sports. I just, you know, if I know you well enough, I probably will lick your gun. I mean, that might be a bonus. That might be a bonus for you. That might be the, you know, that tips you over coming here. Hi Callum, I'm curious to know if you have shot a short-barreled rifle or shotgun. I haven't shot a short-barreled shotgun, but I have. Well, it depends what your definition of a short-barreled rifle is, but I have shot a AR-15 full auto pistol. I mean, it was probably from like the end of the stock to the barrel, probably like that. Again, it's the American Shooting Trips Utah trip, but I was. I've talked a lot about that tonight, but go and check out those Utah videos if you want to see that. Callum, would I have to pay for an extra 2 licks? No, I'd happily give those licks out for free. You guys are very fascinated with me licking things. That's slightly unnerving, but, you know, whatever. Yeah, people talking about Chris's and Smith's and performance centers. I mean, the performance center the 1522 performance center is a good deal, but a lot of people are going to put a load new furniture on it anyway, and if you're going to go and put new grips and stocks and stuff like that, if you're going to leave it how it is and just maybe add, I don't know, like some mag load bits to it, then yeah, it's fantastic. I do believe it does have an uprated or an improved trigger and a precision competition barrel on it, so you know, there's that. You can't beat that. But then again, if you go and save some money, go and buy a base spec 1522. You can go, I think it's for quartz and barrels. I know that Black Rifle do some competition barrels for the Smith. So I prefer like building up the gun. Like that's most of the fun when you have an AR is putting all the extra bits on it. Remember to subscribe to Magload channels. Magload's channel, of course. If you want to learn anything more about Magload gear, Magload does have a YouTube channel. It does have a Facebook page. Go and check that out if you're interested in loads in those products. Again, loads of stuff for the 1522, loads of stuff for practical shotgun. Basically, if you do any sort of IPSC shooting in the UK, Magload will have something that will make you go faster. I can pretty much guarantee it. So Ad H, can Bluefield Sports get the 243 on paper at the on-site range you have there, so I could take it away zeroed when I get it off Alex? Absolutely, if that's something that you need doing. Again, it's probably better. It's more a legality thing, which is, you know, I am involved with Bluefield Sports. I do, you know, work closely with Alex, but I am marketing at the moment. I cannot act in any way in the capacity of an RFD. Hence my current situation. So you know, it's very hard for me to, you know, the lines get very blurred. You know, it's been clarified that in terms of running Facebook pages and answering the phone and, you know, emails and messages and stuff like that, that's all gravy. But in terms of like offering RFD services, I have to like pass that on to Connors or pass that on to Alex. But I know Alex will happily do that for you. You know, he may charge you you know, a box of ammunition, you know, to go and do it, because there is a cost to doing that. But or it'll be Connors that goes and does it as well. But yeah, that's absolutely something that can be done. So just drop them a message, drop them an email. Brian, I love this channel. Thank you very much. Muchly appreciate it. You saw Daniel Smerald. You are the proud owner of a. I can't say it. I can never remember how that word is pronounced. No, I'm not even going to try it, because Connors will rip me. I'm the proud owner of one. Am I? Really? Is this our engagement present, Dan? Can action air pistols be posted, and where's the best place to get them from? I was talking to somebody about this today in terms of I think it was Connors, maybe. I can't remember. It's been a long day. I'm very tired. So I believe from a private sale point of view, so from a private individual to another private individual, you can post air pistols and action air guns, BB guns, from an individual to an individual. But in terms of buying one from a shop, you have to go in and collect them. And also you need basically an exemption, so you need to be able to demonstrate, and this is usually the UCARA. Some shops will allow UK PSA membership as justification. Worst case, you're going to have to get it painted two-tone to be able to. I think it's the VCRA Act, the Violent Crime Reduction Act. Yeah, so but yeah, so unless you're buying it privately, I don't think you can get it posted. And I'd always go to a shop just to be safe. You don't want to be accused of posting illegal things or having things posted illegally to you. Antique muskets are unregulated, aren't they? Some are. So I mean, like muzzle loading stuff, you know, that still can go on an FAC. Obsolete caliber, you don't need an FAC for. But basically, if there's a gun that you can go and buy ammunition for, it's usually on an FAC. Otherwise, it becomes obsolete. But yeah, I mean, it's the definition of a firearm, which is a lethal barreled weapon. So if it has a barrel capable of discharging a projectile that would be deemed lethal, then it has to go on some sort of license. Now, the reason that they let obsolete calibers off that list is because, well, technically there's no ammunition for it, so it's technically not a lethal barreled weapon anymore, I guess. But again, I'm not so hot about my historic stuff. If Alex Florence is still here, he should be able to answer that a lot better than I can. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really sorry, guys. Obviously, the normal setup when we're streaming is Alex's computer is whirring away in the corner of the gun room, and we've just got our laptops that aren't doing anything. But obviously, the sound is built into the laptop, and my laptop is having a hard time of it streaming to you guys. And I'm also like watching myself back to make sure that obviously it's okay. So yeah, really sorry about the whirring, but I hope you can still hear me clear enough. Dan said he picked something up for me. He's too good to me. Picked up a Callum in the sale for you. Myself and Connors is. Oh, looking forward to that. If I didn't need any more reasons to look forward to going out to Kentucky. Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, I look forward to shooting that with you, Dan. That would be pretty cool. Geisley, there we go. I've got to remember that, Geisley. I always say Gelial. It's like Geisley crossed with a Delisle. It's because, I tell you why I think it's Gelial. Because I spend an unhealthy amount of time talking to Dan about Geisley parts. And he has his Delisle, and my dyslexic brain just combines the two. I think of Geisley, I think of Dan, I think of his Delisle, and therefore it's Gelial. So there we go. Oh, you're stepping up the flattery, Bryson. This is the best channel of all time. I really appreciate that. I'm not sure if I agree with you. There are some pretty cool channels out there, but yeah, I appreciate it nonetheless. Are you allowed to have a 10 gauge shotgun? Yep. I know a couple of people that have them. I don't think there is a maximum bore you're allowed in the UK. There was usually at the shows it was the Game Fair a couple of years ago, and I've definitely seen them at the Northern Shooting Show, where they bring, I think they have a 2 gauge or it's at least a 4 gauge. It's ridiculous, absolutely. Like, it knocks most people on their asses. Like, and you generally look at it and you're going, "Is that safe?" And you usually have like 2 or 3 people surrounding them, like ready to catch them. But yeah, we can own some ridiculously large shotguns. Like, again, as I said, like shotguns aren't particularly limited in the UK, which is one of the only things that we're not particularly limited on. So yeah, we can own pretty much any gauge we want. Applied for the RAF and was wondering what will happen to all my guns when I move for their training, since I would no longer be living at home. I live in Scotland. I mean, so that shouldn't be an issue. So from my experience, when I was at university, I actually applied, because I was studying in London, I applied to the Met, and they sent it back and said, "No, your home is in Hampshire, so apply to Hampshire." If only it had been the Met. But they actually said, although I was going to be spending the majority of the time in London, because of my home address was in Hampshire, that's where to store them. So as long as, again, it's secure and only you have access to the safe, then you shouldn't have any issue at all. Worst case, you could always store them at an RFD. That's always a potential option. But yeah, you should, it depends on how long, if you say to them, yeah, I'm not going to be back for like, I'm not going to see them year on year, then that's probably going to be an issue. But if you're coming back like once or twice a month, then really I can't see that being a huge issue. Yeah, I can imagine. Paul has some ridiculous loads. He keeps sending me photos of them, and my shoulder, I think I've just about got over the last time you guys were up here. So yeah, that's yeah, I'm looking forward to it. He's a madman. He's determined to break my shoulder. But once the lockdown has lifted, we will more than happily have you both down again, and go and shoot some shoulder breakers, and hopefully go out and get a deer that we can make biltong from. That would be absolutely awesome. Getting really stuffy again. I don't know what it is about the live streams. I mean, I usually end them with a really blocked nose. But I've finally got to the list of all your questions, and I'm sorry I've given you guys loads of opportunities to ask more questions, but I am going to have to call it a night, call it a day, head back and probably get a nice cold beer and just sit there and chill out. Yes, completely right. Biltong on pain. What a perfect combination. So again, before you guys all go and leave, please make sure you've hit that thumbs up button and liked the stream. If you don't know, we do this every single week, and so far, even with the lockdown, we've been able to continue that. Unfortunately, I don't have my sidekick or my right hand man, whatever you want to refer to him as. Connor's with me. We will try and find a way. If I can find a way, I will try and get him back on the stream, and I'm going to try and get Neil on the stream next week. I don't know if that is going to happen again for the same reasons that I couldn't get Connors on tonight. But yeah, we will try. We're going to absolutely guarantee that every single week during this lockdown and forevermore, we'll be doing the English shooting live stream. So it's Thursdays, 7:30. Doing them on YouTube at the moment because obviously either being at home or being in the office, I'm not handling guns, so I can come back to YouTube and not worry about getting anything taken down or any strikes. You're his sidekick. Yeah, I'm sure he would agree. But thanks guys for tuning in and being part of the conversation. I always enjoy these streams. It is a highlight of my week, and if any of the people that donated are still here, please, a big thank you again for doing that. That was absolutely awesome. So yes, it's now that funny time of the stream where I say I'm going to go and I'm going to end the stream, and you'll see my concentration face as I frantically look for the end stream button. But again, really appreciate all you guys coming and chatting. Next week, 7:30 on YouTube. It will most likely be YouTube. At some point, whenever everything's over, we will go back to Facebook. But if you guys really want me to stay on YouTube, maybe I'll start doing 2 streams a week. We'll see how that goes. That will be mental. But there we go, guys. Thank you again. Really appreciate it, and all the support. There's been loads of support tonight. And as always, guys, I hope to see you soon.